So what you're going to need today for our Vortex Cannons is you're going to need a bottle. I like these square tea bottles. I like those. Or the Gatorade bottles that are thicker, that have the round bottoms are really good. The 16, 20-ounce bottles are great. A water bottle like this is not going to work very well. This plastic is very flimsy. You don't want that. Same with the Mountain Dew bottles or the Pepsi bottles. I think the Dr. Pepper bottles are good because they kind of have a wider bottom and then it narrows to the top. Those work. Or those 1-liter bottles, they work really well for this. They're bigger, but they will work. It's just when we go to put the balloon on in a little bit, it'll collapse it. So you have your bottle, all right? You're going to need some duct tape. I have just regular painter's tape today because I ran out of duct tape and I don't want to use the really good stuff I have. You'll need a pair of scissors or a utility knife. Now, utility knives work better. I'm not saying this. I know I'm talking about sharp objects, okay? Scissors work just fine for this. I prefer utility knives just because it's a little bit easier to cut through the heavy plastic, but there is one problem. Remember, these are razor blade sharp. Please don't cut yourself, all right? And then the only other thing you're going to need is you're going to need a balloon. Now, I don't have a balloon, but I have just a piece of plastic so I can show you how it'll work. So if you have all those things, you can deal with the Vortex Cannon today. All right, I'm going to put a whiteboard up here real quick so I can show you some neat things here real quick. Where is that? Share screen. A whiteboard. Okay. So today we're going to build Vortex Cannons. Can everybody see the whiteboard right here in front? Everybody see that whiteboard okay? All right. So when we talk about Vortex, we kind of talked about this with tornado in a bottle. Okay. When we talk about Vortex, a Vortex is just a spin around a center point. So if I have the center point here, a vortex just spins around that point in whatever direction. It could spin, counterclockwise. It could spin clockwise. Okay, it could spin the other direction. It could spin this way. All right. It's just as long as it rotates. Yeah, I know that's terrible. It's hard to do this with the touchpad. As long as it rotates around a center point, it's a vortex. And so the easiest way to think about vortex, okay, your bathtub, okay, your bathtub. I'm trying to write here, and this is terrible. Your bathtub, your toilet is a vortex. I know, yes, haha, I talked about your toilet. But your toilet is a vortex because where the water goes down when you flush, it all rotates around that center point as it works to drain out, okay? A tornado is a vortex as well when you think about it, because there's a center point down on the ground and then it works its way down from the cloud and works its way downward to this point where it forms either that long ropey thing or a big wide tornado wedge. So a vortex is just a center point where something spins, okay? Or it's a spinning pile of something, okay, where you have a center point. You could be a vortex yourself because you can spin around your own center point, okay? If I put a center point here at the top of me, I can spin myself around and make myself a vortex. If you ever watch professional figure skaters, they are really good at being a vortex. They spin around a center point really well. So all of those are good examples of a vortex. It's spinning columns of air, of water, all those things. If you put a tornado over water, you get what's called a water spout. They're really cool, all those neat things, okay? So that's a vortex. There's really not a whole lot to talk about. But the neat thing is the bigger you make your vortex cannon, the more powerful it is. The more air you can get moving, the more powerful it is. And we've kind of learned that with all the storms that we've seen. Sometimes some storms come in, like last night, that wasn't, it was a pretty heavy storm. I got about an inch of rain last night. It was pretty heavy, but there wasn't a lot of wind. Now, there was a storm last week sometime where there wasn't much rain, but there was a whole lot of really heavy wind that blew some of the branches down. So you get this give and take, all right? They weren't columns of air, they're not vortex. But whenever you see high and low pressure, okay, whenever you see high and low pressure on maps, if you ever watch the weather, that is a vortex of air. It's a gigantic vortex. It's really, really big. A hurricane is a very, very big vortex because it spins around a center point, the eye of the storm. So these are all some really neat, random, unique things. So that's all I have to say about a vortex. Now let's build a vortex cannon. Now I saved this for last because usually when we do this in person, the trickiest part is getting some way to see moving air. Because when we look at air, can we actually see it move? Can we actually see the air moving? And the answer is no. Unless there's dust or smoke or clouds, we can't see moving air. Right now, I've got fans going in my room here. It's spinning pretty high, but I can't see the air. Now I can see things being pushed by the moving air, but I can't see it. But right now is a good time to use things where we can see moving air. It's fireworks season here in Nebraska, which means we can use different things to help us. Because usually when we do this in person, we have a fog machine. But guys don't all have access to fog machines. But you will have access to something that will help you. And that is something we'll talk about a little bit later. So let's build our vortex cannon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to stop my video quick because I don't want to make you guys sick while moving this. I'll put this on this cutting board. Now, what you will do is you're going to start with your bottle. Okay, you'll start with your bottle, and your bottle is going to kind of be cut. When you cut your bottle, I've already done this because I didn't want to take the extra time and somebody needed to borrow my utility knife, which they actually didn't use the utility knife, which is awesome. So whatever, okay? And, oop, that's really blurry. There we go. What I have done is I took my utility knife, and where's the other end of that? I think I lost it. Yep, I lost it. Okay, what I did is I estimated, oh, here's my bottom. I estimated about 1/4 of the bottle, okay? The bottom 1/4 of the bottle, maybe a little bit less. And what I did is I took my knife and I cut all the way around very carefully. This is square all the way around carefully, as straight as I could. Now, when you cut plastic, please be aware, this becomes very sharp and you might get some little snags. Like I have a snag right here on this edge. If you look, that can cut fingers easily, okay? If you're gonna use your scissors, the best thing to do would be, I know this isn't the safest way, pinch your bottle. You'll pinch your bottle and kind of snip and then cut your way around. Or you might have to take your scissors and kind of drive in a little bit and poke a hole and then cut around as straight as you can, all right? So that would be your goal to cut your bottle. If you have a round bottle, that should be nice. Like if you have the Gatorade bottles, cut right above the thick plastic bottom. It's kind of thin right there. That's the perfect place to cut. All right, I see some people are cutting and doing this along with me. That's fine. Looks like they've got theirs done. And don't lose this because you can always use that for something. You could grow some little seeds in here, some little plants in there. Looks great. Okay, so we've got this cut so far. All right. Now we want to make sure that we don't have our cap because we don't need the cap for anything. The next step is to take your balloon. Now I don't have a balloon because my balloons have gone missing in action. So I'm going to try to find a way to draw this without causing any problems or making a huge mess. I just need a piece of paper, which, whatever. All right. Oh, I've got the back of an envelope. Back of an envelope. Oh, that's law papers. I don't want those. No. I'm trying to find something to draw on that isn't like important. Here we go. All right. So here we go. Back of a card. So let's say that here's your balloon. Okay? And it's upside down, okay? What you should do is, it's kind of weird. You want to cut, and this is that little end that you've blown. You don't want to cut up into the neck, but you don't want to cut into the big body part of it. You want to cut somewhere just a little bit below where the balloon starts to widen a little bit.
See it.
Yeah, cut most of the neck off. Cut like right here. That's about where you want to cut. You want a little bit of the neck, but you don't want to cut into the body because you want as much balloon body as you possibly can. Okay. So you want to cut this. This you can just throw away. And this is what you're going to keep right here.
I want to still use this.
Okay?
Not
Yep.
like here. I can barely see it. I can barely see it.
Yeah, I know. Boop. There you go. So you got your.
Okay, Daddy, you need it. I can't.
There you go. It's a little blurry. There you go. So cut the neck off. Yeah, so cut the neck off. Throw it away. Keep the rest of this. You want to keep that. Yep, there you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that's how you cut the balloon. Now, because I don't have my balloon, it makes life just a little bit tricky. Okay, sorry. Now, what you'll do, this is easier for people who have a balloon. For me, this will be tricky. You're going to take your balloon very carefully, and you're going to put it on the back of your bottle. Kind of like, yep, just like a swim cap or like a hair cap. You just put it right on the back, and it should sit right there. Okay, and it should be nice and tight. You'll have to stretch it nice and tight along your nice and tight along there. Okay, nice and tight along your bottle. Put it on just like you'd put a swim cap on. Have to work it just a little bit, but it should be nice and tight. And if you tap it, it should kind of go donk, donk, donk. Okay, it should be fairly tight. If it tears, get a new balloon. All right, everything will be okay. Yep, that looks great. Oh, you want to try to pull that a little bit tighter. You want it as tight as you can on there. Yep, you want to pull it as tight as you possibly can. The only reason is just to make it really tight. And the tighter you can make it, just the better this works. And I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment to my plastic. My plastic actually isn't doing too bad. It's not going to be a bad idea. Okay. I just took a sandwich bag and split it. Yeah, so the tighter you can get that, the better off you will be. If you can't get it super tight, it's okay. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Yes, there you go. Nice and tight around it. Yep, beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, yes. Looks great. Okay. Tighter you can get it, the better off it's going to be. Okay. Yep. There's a little bit of a thing in there. That's fine. Just if you can get it nice and tight, the tighter you get it on there, the better it will work. Okay. All right. So let's say I've got my balloon on here nice and tight. Okay. Now what I need to do is I'm going to take a piece of duct tape. Now I don't have duct tape. I have painter's tape. Now duct tape will work better just because it's more solid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this as tight as I can. Okay. Yours shouldn't move very much. And what you're going to do is you're going to tape a loop around this and hold it. You want it half on and half off, just to hold the balloon in place. Now I'm going to work mine here real quick. Mine's going to be just a little bit different than yours because I have to be a little bit more, well, I got to be a little bit more creative. Mine. Okay, so I kind of got mine here. It's not too bad. Okay, here's mine. It's not too bad, really. It's fairly tight. And if you want to test to see if yours doesn't have any leaks, okay, something silly you can do put it in front of your face. Okay, your face, not other people's face. Don't do that. All right? And then just tap it. And you should feel a little poof of air if you did it right. Okay? Or blow a little bit of air in there and push it out. And you should feel a little bit of air coming out of there. Okay? If you feel a little bit of air coming out of there, great. Now here's the problem. We can't see the air coming out. Right? We can't see the air coming out. So how would we make it so we could actually see the air coming out of there? Well, like I said, a fog machine would be great, okay? And I can prove that the air is there by pushing. What do I have that's light that I can push around? Here, let's see if I can do this. Here you go. It's not moving. Here, hang on. And I know that there's air in here. See, it's moving it, right? Can you kind of see it moving it? It's kind of moving it, right? Not much. But how do I know that that air is actually there? How would I know that? Well, it's one of my favorite seasons. It's fireworks season. Yes, I'm kind of weird like that. I enjoy myself some fireworks. Now, we need a way to actually make it so we can see the air. And the best thing to use, well, if you have a fog machine, great, okay? But the next best thing you could do would be to use one of those colored smoke balls. Use a colored smoke ball, light it carefully, and then when it starts smoking, put your bottle over the top of it and let this fill with colored smoke. Then tap it, okay, in the middle, okay? The harder you tap it, the more it'll go. But when you tap it, you should see a vortex come out of it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it looks like, but remember, it's a spinning thing of air around a center point. Okay? And if you do it correctly, you should be able to tap it fairly strong and actually cause it to maybe knock some things over if yours is strong enough, or see some really neat things happen. Okay? A lot of people will try to pull back on this. Don't do that. Just tap it a couple fingers firmly, and it will push things around. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is your vortex cannon. Use the colored smoke. It makes it look really awesome, and it shows how the air moves. And so with that, everybody, that is all I have, and that is the last of our summer science camps.